Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Bryan Lee, President here of the Clemson Area Chamber of Commerce. Please help me welcome in a great question and answering session with our Small Business Administration, Stephen Clark. He is our Public Affairs Specialist, and I welcome him here today.
No, thank you very much for having me today.
And what exactly is your role with being in the Public Affairs Specialist? What exactly does that mean?
I work for the Office of Disaster Recovery and Resilience, so I go to the location of various federal disaster declarations, and I talk with people like yourself at Chambers of Commerce, talk with the media, talk with other people in government, and disaster survivors about what the U.S. Small Business Administration has in terms of resources for disaster survivors in those areas.
Wow, what a program. Thank you so much for what you do. Well, let's just get right into it. You've already kind of told us a little bit about SBA and what it does in our area. What is available for businesses through the SBA for such like a disaster like Hurricane Helene?
Well, for Hurricane Helene, because it's a presidential disaster declaration, we have physical damage disaster loans for businesses that had physical damage. So that might be damage to structure, trees may have fallen on your business. But another example of physical damage might be if you had, say, a restaurant and power's out and you lost inventory due to spoilage. And I've talked with some people in the hospitality industry that was really a very serious issue. They may have lost thousands or tens of thousands of dollars of inventory because the power was out, and they just lost refrigerated or frozen foods at a restaurant or several restaurants in some cases.
Yeah, I know what we lost just in our little freezers going down, so you can imagine how it affected a lot of our businesses in this state. So it's also available for individuals and homeowners, like you said, but again, it's also helpful for businesses?
Yes, well, we have physical damage disaster loans available for homeowners, renters, private nonprofits, and for small businesses. So this would be to make repairs, rebuild. You can also use the funds to relocate.
Oh, wow.
Although I will caution that really in terms of applying for assistance, you're going to want to file a claim with your insurance carrier and see what they will offer you.
Right.
Or more importantly, you need to get that process started. And then beyond that, we encourage everyone to apply for an SBA physical damage disaster loan if they're going to need money to make repairs or rebuild from the damage they may have suffered from Hurricane Helene. So between those two bits in the process, you can find out what resources, what you're going to get from the SBA, for example, because we can loan you up to our loan limits before you receive an insurance settlement. And so our loan limits are $500,000 for real estate for homeowners, $100,000 of personal property for homeowners and renters, and then we have a $2 million cap for nonprofits or businesses for physical damage. So the issue is some insurance carriers will say, under the terms of your insurance, you can only rebuild at that insured location. So you want to check with your insurance company and see what restrictions you may have from them. But for our purposes, you could use the money to relocate anywhere in the United States. So if that means there's some other building across the street that may be a better fit, or you could move into immediately without having to rebuild, that could be an option. Or if you decide that some other location would be better, that's a choice that you're going to need to look into and be able to make.
Well, the options are amazing then. So I'm assuming there's a deadline on something like this for applications.
Yes, the really important deadline for physical damage assistance is currently January 7th, 2025.
January 7th, 2025, okay?
So that's the physical damage disaster loan application deadline for SBA loans. That is also the FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. That's their deadline for applying for their program they call individual assistance.
Okay.
So those are grants for homeowners and renters who had damage to their primary residence. So in the federal system, FEMA has these resources for disaster survivors whose homes are damaged, whether you're a homeowner or renter. And if you have had damage, it's good to register with them and see what they can do for you. In addition, apply for SBA and find out what kind of SBA physical damage disaster loan you could get. And then when you have the information about what you can get from those two programs, you can decide to take it or not. Both of the programs, there's no obligation to take any of the money, especially with the SBA loans. There's no application fee. There's no obligation to take the loan. There's no prepayment penalty. And for the first year after your first disbursement, there is no required payments and there's no accrued interest.
Wow. I mean, so it really just sounds like smarter to apply for it, and if you need it, use it. If not, then, move on.
Yes, I mean, really, I would say the only downsides would be it is going to take you probably a couple hours of your time to get documents together and complete your application. And we do run a hard credit check,
Yep.
and that is something to be aware of. But other than that, like I said, there's no application fee, there's no obligation. You can apply online. In addition, we have representatives at all of the FEMA disaster recovery centers. And so the closest one to Clemson is in Anderson, at the Anderson County Library. And you could go there, and we have customer service representatives there who will answer questions, but they can also help you step by step through the application process if you feel more comfortable that way. Of course, you can apply online, and like other types of SBA loans, you can have someone like a financial advisor or an accountant or an attorney do that application for you if you like. I mean, those are all your choices in this system.
The access point online for them to get information in the application, what is that website?
That's lending.sba.gov. There's a disaster section on there that you should take a look at, and in there you can find the specific South Carolina declaration. You can search by the county in which your damaged property is located, and then it'll lead you to the page for that disaster declaration. But I should add that if you have friends or relatives or maybe other business locations or something like that in other states that were hit by Hurricane Helene, the same SBA programs are available in Virginia and Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida.
Yeah, the hardest hits.
Yeah. But in all those states, the same programs that I've discussed, which are available in South Carolina, are available in those states. So if you know anyone in those states, please encourage them to, especially for the physical damage, whether it's applying for FEMA assistance or an SBA loan, to apply as soon as possible. Don't wait to receive an insurance settlement, and get the process going so you can find out what kind of resources you can get.
Well, if you don't mind giving that website one more time, and then also maybe give us some contact information on how somebody might be able to get a hold of you if they need some direct answers like you've been able to provide us.
Yes, well, I mean, really, I'd say that the best options to get a hold of me, you could give me a call on my cell phone, or you could send me an email. I'm at stephen.clark@sba.gov. And then I can try to point you in the right direction in terms of figuring out, what is the closest center to where you're located. SBA, we have two what we call business recovery centers, but anybody can go to them if you're a homeowner or renter. There's one in the Columbia area, and there's one in Greenville. But I realize that's a bit further away from Clemson, so that the Anderson location is probably the best. But you can go to any of the centers, and FEMA has a number of other centers around the state of South Carolina as well that might be closer to where you are any given day, or if you're sending help to friends or relatives or something like that, we can point them to one that may be closer to their location. But you are able to go to any of the centers. So if you happen to be traveling to Greenville or whatever and are already there, feel free to use those. It's not like they would say, oh, well, you need to go back to Anderson or something like that. You can go to any of the centers. It's helpful if when you go, you have a photo ID, and ideally if you have a cell phone, because we'll try to get you set up for the online login for the process. But the customer service representatives will help you all the way with that.
That's fantastic, Stephen. Again, Bryan here at the Clemson Area Chamber of Commerce. If you need any type of assistance from your small business or even to your residential, please either get in touch with us or the Small Business Administration. They'd be glad to help you. We really appreciate your time today. Thank you.